malicious manifesto to protest, the code that took his faith and raped his pride. He's a crusader, dominator, sure he's mad, but he's no hater. He just wants back his life.
Good evening, YouTube. I have returned to provide the only service that I have of value, which is, of course, my expert commentary on the goings-on of Watchtower Corporation and their devoted followers, the Jehovah's Witnesses. Yes, and there have been some rather monumentous developments in the past few weeks. The primary one that I'm sure most of you are familiar with by now is the official consolidation and compilation of JW.org, the new face of Watchtower Corporation. Now, before I provide my commentary on the website, I should tell you that in times past, even when I was a witness, I was quite curmudgeonly and critical of Watchtower Corporation productions. I mean, going all the way back to Noah, which I watched as a child. I mean, come on, Jesus Christ, it's pathetic. I mean, you put it on your movie screen and you watch it in the DVD, it's rolling and it's spinning and it's playing, and what do you know, you watch the cartoon characters that are poorly animated and poorly shaded and colored and such, and the things, and they're moving along like popsicle sticks across the screen. I mean, it's very, very low budget, and it really makes the Watchtower Corporation look like what they are, which is a bunch of schmucks. I mean, you know, even their prophecy series, you're watching it and you say, oh my, I see what you're trying to do there with the things and the expert opinions, so-called, and the testimony. You're ripping off the History Channel, but in a very poor way, is basically what they were trying to do. Or their Blood series, you know, where they're taking these just one-off medical experts and, you know, offering up a very biased opinion of their belief system and how it relates to the medical arena. But this JW.org, getting to my main point, is quite a different beast. You know, actually, and it pains me to say this, it's a beautiful website. It's crisp, it's clean, it's modern, it functions well, it provides adequate information, it's easy to navigate. I mean, all the things that you look for in a website. By God, JW.org has got it. And it's the fact that they're repackaging the entire Watchtower Corporation image that I think is very telling about the social changes which the organization may well be undergoing now and will continue to undergo in the future. You see, whether Watchtower Corporation likes to admit it or not, the old thundering fools that they call the governing body are slowly dying out. I mean, these men are wrinkled, drooling, babbling, senile husks of the men that they once were. They're no longer able to function on the level that, well, you know, younger men are able to. They can't properly represent the monstrositous corporation that they once held firmly under their thumb. And so, the generation that we were told would never pass away is actually, in fact, passing away. Now, the corporation must go on. And in order for them to achieve this, they must come up with new leaders. Now, I'm sure most of you have already heard, or some of you anyway, about the new governing body member who has recently ascended to power, and by God, he's not even as old as my mother. Born in the 60s. Now, you witnesses can argue about overlapping generations all you want, but there's a hell of a lot of difference between the 1930s and the 1960s, where the two generations of Watchtower corporate overlord leaders were raised. You know, these 60s people, you know, brought up with Andy Warhol, they really have a sense of style and flair that is quite well adapted to the computer age, believe it or not. And so they're integrating their life experiences and thrusting them upon the new corporate image, which has moderated to a large degree. I invite you to examine the quintessential witness family, which is pictured at the bottom of the home screen on jw.org. Don't they remind you of a certain series of other pictures that we've been seeing in billboards and on our television screens since the nomination of Romney? Yes, that's right, the I'm a Mormon campaign. Well, now it's more closer to the I'm a Jehovah's Witness campaign. Look at the dad. He's not dressed to the nines. They're not in their trademark suits, which of course they encourage witnesses to wear at all times of the day, especially during the convention, because, you know, my God, why wouldn't you go to a spaghetti restaurant with a, you know, white shirt and tie? I mean, that's not a bad combination. That's not impending disaster, especially for the financially distraught lower class of members in Watchtower Corporation, of which there are many. Anyway. Now, obviously, these people pictured in jw.org are fairly, you know, upper middle class, Caucasian, which is also telling, considering that they're obviously trying to appeal to a primarily American market, but also they just don't look quite as abnormal and freakish. Jehovah's Witnesses are trying to integrate themselves into an acceptable societal norm, which is a marked change from the moves that they've gone in the past. In the past, we've seen Jehovah's Witnesses try and become more hardline with their teachings and with their absolute refusal to integrate into society at large. But now, they're almost trying to mimic them. A few years ago, we would never have seen, you know, the vaguely disheveled, you know, longer hair conservative male with, you know, spunky hipster glasses and even a glimmer of 5 o'clock shadow. Hey, you know, I mean, hey, these are little things, but for a cult, it tells you a lot. The mother with the vaguely frumpy attire, she's not the pinnacle of attraction, which Jehovah's Witnesses have been trying to lure members in, you know, with recently. Anyway, it looks like maybe she got the dress in a used store, and she's not putting on much makeup. The kids don't look freakish. They actually look like, well, what I would describe as a normal American family, albeit a little bit upper class. Anyway, and so I think that what it really represents is the crossroads that Watchtower Corporation finds themselves at today. You see, they're at a point in modern history where they now have to choose. The print media that they've been relying on and the door-to-door sales technique, it's not going to continue to work. And it's not appealing to this new fast-paced modern age. I mean, even in the videos that they presented in this new jw.org website, the very end of you know, the Watchtower magazine, like no other magazine on earth, pictured the young girl holding a Kindle, you know, an e-reader, which could signify that Watchtower media is going electronic in the future. And they're putting themselves in a very dangerous position when they do that. Because, as has been proven, the power of YouTube to compel and sway Jehovah's Witness thinking has really been proven over the past years. It's been instrumental in setting the apostate movement on fire. And time again it is shown that once examined, Watchtower Corporation theology cannot stand up to scrutiny. And it's that theology that I think is really taking a turn for the enigmatic in the corporation. If you'll notice, in recent years, the direct explanation of some of their foundational teachings, like 607 BCE or 1914, you know, they've really been quite sparse. They're not explaining the teachings very much, and in fact, the number of times that the dates have been used or featured in Watchtower publications has been on a downward trend for about the past decade, or at least the past couple years. So Watchtower Corporation must be acknowledging that they can't sell a hardline message in a very moderated world. They're having to change the way that they function as a corporation. They can no longer attract the same crowd using the same methods. They either have to attract the incredibly gullible and the incredibly devoted by imposing their mind-controlling techniques and their behavioral alterations that they impose upon the familial structure, or they have to tone the cult mantra down. And when I look at jw.org, that is exactly the move that I see taking place. I see Jehovah's Witnesses, and this is a good thing, becoming less like a cult and more like a slightly kooky, not quite mainstream religion. You know, like the Christian Scientists, or the Mormons, or the Pentecostals. You know, most Americans and most people are vaguely familiar with what they believe, and they tolerate it for the most part because they're not bothered by it, because it's not having a direct effect on their lives. Not to the extent that Watchtower Corporation has had a repeated track record of having on the personal lives of far too many people. So the question, and I think it's self-evident, at least with my analysis, but the question that I would like to pose to you, the apostate community at large, or any Jehovah's Witnesses, if you choose to make a constructive comment on my video, the question that I would like to pose is, how do you think that Watchtower will continue to change in the future as the generation that will never pass away passes away? How will that affect the leadership of Watchtower Corporation? Will they become more cultish, less cultish? If they continue along this path of mainstream media integration, will they face dangers and problems that they never expected? Will it cause them to lose more membership or gain more membership? Only time will tell, and right now, I think we can all have good fun speculating on it. YouTube community, I am back, and I'm here to stay. Remember that life is always just a state of mind. Good night.
They'll take your blood and have some sex and do some drugs that perplex his central nervous system. Yeah, that's okay.
That's pretty damn good still, though, man. That's fucking awesome.